Hello, hello, hello. It's Dr. Sacheen, and it is Sunday Conversations with Dr. Sacheen, also known as the Bliss Doctor. Thanks for joining me today. So, it's been a couple Sundays since I was able to record a message for you all, but I am back, and I'm talking about the holidays. We're between Thanksgiving and Christmas here in the United States. There's a lot of Hanukkah celebrations going on, a lot of celebrations all across the world. And one of the important things about the holiday celebrations is that they tend to produce a lot of stress. And they are ripe with expectations. So I have my notes because I like my notes. They're ripe with expectations. And so the quote that I want to bring you for this Sunday conversation is this. You need to learn, you need to learn to be generous with yourself. First and foremost, before you're generous with your time, your effort, and your attention. Sorry, I'm always playing with my hair. Time, effort, or attention, especially during the holiday season, the one thing that is important is to remember to be generous with yourself. Now, what does that look like? Especially around the holidays when there's so much expectation, especially in the era of COVID, when we've been in a pandemic and the world is partially opened back up. Well, I guess mostly open back up, but we have some lingering dark clouds. But there's a lot of pressure to make nice for the holiday season with people, especially with big gatherings. And so what I want to say to you is the most important thing that you can do for yourself is to choose happy over the holiday. I did a podcast this week with that very title. What would it look like for you to choose happy over the holiday? And you can take that in one of two ways. So the first is choosing to be happy over the holiday season, which means spending the time that you want with the people that you want, enjoying things that make you happy, really embracing the concept that it's okay to spend your holiday with whomever you please and doing whatever you want to in whatever capacity. If that's a spa weekend getaway because you don't want anything to do with people, if that's with family, if that's with friends because they're your family of choice, if that's taking a trip and just bouncing completely from the holidays and going, I don't want any part of it because I want mimosas on the beach and not turkey, whatever that may look like. Choosing to be happy in whatever circumstances that you may find yourself in is one way to interpret being happy over the holiday. The other way to interpret it is to say that my happiness is more important than the holiday. And this is actually what my podcast this week was about, or last week, I guess, was about. And that is, if you're sacrificing your happiness to keep the peace over the holidays, and you're doing yourself a disservice. You're not putting yourself first. You're not being generous with yourself first and foremost, because you got to wake up with yourself the next day. No matter what, you got to wake up with yourself. And so for a lot of people, the concept of making happiness the bigger priority than the holiday feels like betrayal to how they grew up, to the people that they feel like they belong to, or that they owe something to. And what I want to tell you is this. I can remember the very first time that I decided to go away for the holiday and not spend it back home with my family. It was a big deal because it was in my family a tradition. You always spent the holidays at home. And the minute I decided that I was going to go spend it with friends on a beach in Hawaii, I had to wrestle with the idea that this was for me, that I was going to put my generosity, my feelings of what I really wanted first. And the one thing I can tell you unequivocally is I hate being cold. It's probably the worst thing that I can ever be is cold. So when winter rolls around and the invitation to spend the holiday in a tropical paradise came up, I jumped at it. I was like, pack my bag. Mind you, I was also going to hang out with friends who I'd been living with, and it was a good time to reconnect with some people that I really cared for. But it was the thought of black sand beaches and Hawaiian islands and the luau spirit. It was like a resounding yes. So how can you be generous with yourself this holiday season? How can how can you learn to be generous with yourself first, and then take care of everything else second. And how are you going to be happy over the holiday? Are you going to be happy no matter the circumstances that you find yourself in? Because that's a great way to embrace the holiday as well. Or are you going to be happy because you've chosen something over everything else this holiday that makes you the happiest that you've ever been? Let me know in the comments. I'll see you next Sunday. Bye.